Welcome to the Atlantic coast of beautiful Central Florida. If you like diversity, you're at the right place. In the next few minutes, you are going to become familiar with my Essential 8, places along the Atlantic coast of Central Florida. Hi, this is Jack Farrell of Tour Guide Florida. Let's get exploring. Listen close. What does the creature from the Black Lagoon, the tallest lighthouse in Florida, and a University of Florida turtle doctor have in common? Not your typical question. Well, this isn't your typical seashore. Sit back as we dip our toes into these must-visit places. Dr. Archie Carr was a professor of zoology at the University of Florida and made extraordinary contributions to sea turtle conservation by way of bringing attention to the world's declining turtle populations due to overexploitation and loss of habitat. The Archie Carr National Wildlife Refuge bears his name. This refuge stretches 20.5 miles from Melbourne Beach to Wabasso Beach in the south. Here's the takeaway. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service believe this to be the most significant area for loggerhead sea turtle nesting in the Western Hemisphere. During June and July, the refuge hosts Sea Turtle Watch programs Tuesday and Wednesday evenings. Cocoa Beach is a coastal fun spot for all. Long associated with surfing in the world-famous 24-hour-a-day Ron John Surf Shop. A newer, less well-known point of interest is the Cocoa Beach Surfers Museum. The historical evolution of this sport is well documented and very interesting for surfers and non-surfers. To the west lies a 30,000-acre estuary habitat called the Banana River Aquatic Preserve. The preserve is an important home and nursery for fish and wildlife. Islands within the preserve act as a haven for many coastal bird species and serve as the largest pelican rookery along the Atlantic coast. Lori Wilson Park, a 32-acre regional beach park, features a remnant of a maritime hammock with its wind-pruned canopy of live oaks, cabbage palms, and red bays. Experience a preserve of old Florida's natural coastline. The walk leads to the beautiful brown quartz sand, which is a trademark of Cocoa Beach. Our next stop is hard to miss. It is Port Canaveral, the second busiest cruise port in the world. Port Canaveral is home to Carnival Cruise Line, Disney Cruise Line, and Royal Caribbean, each hosting 2 ships with 2 more to be added soon, and Norwegian Cruise Line, a frequent operator. There is plenty of shopping and restaurants situated along the harbor. Ports, by their very nature, tend to occupy fragile environments. Port Canaveral is home to several protected species with infrequent offshore sightings of right whales in the months from November to April. Port Canaveral designed and was the first in Florida to implement manatee plates. These metal bumpers protect manatees from being crushed by holding the ships away from the sea wall. The port has executed an exterior light management plan that reduces the potential for disorientation in sea turtle hatchlings. Jetty Park is situated where the mouth of the port meets the Atlantic Ocean. It's 35 acres packed with 150 beach vicinity campsites, a 1,200-foot fishing pier, and 4.5 acres of clean, sandy beach. Here are a few words that describe the era which gave birth to our next stop. Space race, Cold War, Mercury, Gemini, Apollo. Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge, designated in 1963 and pulled into world prominence to serve as a buffer to the U.S. space program at Kennedy Space Center. Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge preserves some 1,500 species of plants and animals. Come for the Space Center, yet prepare to be enchanted by 140,000 acres that includes coastal dunes, saltwater estuaries, pine flatwoods, and hardwood hammocks. Most travelers are amazed how different the area is in person. It is a birding paradise in the winter months and great opportunities to view the endangered West Indian manatee in the warm months. How does 24 miles of the longest undeveloped beach along the east coast of Florida sound? Or take a boardwalk to the top of a man-made mountain of oyster shells created by ancient Native Americans. Unspoiled Canaveral National Seashore is like an 8-course banquet of nature's diversity. What's your pleasure? Backcountry camping by boat or kayak to a mangrove island campsite? Learning about loggerhead sea turtles that create 3,000 to 4,000 nests within the park? The park has miles of unspoiled sand dunes, peaceful beaches, and a 20-mile-long estuary brimming with sport fish, shellfish, blue crabs, and dolphin. Redfish, anyone? Getting close to those things in nature you want to see can be especially difficult when you have limited time on a vacation. This is not the main reason the Marine Science Center was created, but by all means, let's take advantage of getting close with the creatures of the sea. The center rehabilitates both sea turtles and sea birds. Both are observable at very close distances. Plus, indoor exhibit areas allow you to experience the different marine environments such as mangroves, whale and dolphin anatomical exhibits, a dune habitat with a cross-section of a sea turtle nest, and a wide variety of local fish and invertebrates, including a 5,000-gallon aquarium. The kids, okay, adults too, enjoy this stingray touch pool. Next door is the National Historic Landmark, the Ponce de Leon Inlet Lighthouse Station, built in 1877. It's Florida's tallest lighthouse, with spectacular views of Daytona Beach, the Atlantic, and Ponce Inlet. The on-site museum boasts the largest collection of Fresnel lenses in the world. Speaking of Daytona Beach, let's shift gears for a moment. Actually, there's a lot going on beyond the roar of NASCAR, the piston-popping Harleys of Bike Week, the flocks of 20-somethings for spring break. Daytona was named after Matthias Day, an Ohio settler who purchased land on the Halifax River. The area's love affair with speed dates back to 1903 and has the chemical compound silicon dioxide to thank. Daytona Beach's silicon dioxide, better known as sand, is hard-packing quartz sand which, when spread widely across a gently sloping beach, makes an ideal surface to test the limits of man and machine. Remember, few paved roads existed, and it continues to be access friendly for street legal vehicles today, though not without controversy. Along the west backside of this barrier island community is the Halifax River. It is best recognized as a brackish water estuary, more so than a flowing freshwater river. Boating and fishing are popular with species such as flounder, sheepshead, mangrove, snapper, and red drum. The Halifax River is a federal manatee preserve as well. Oh yes, I did say the creature from the Black Lagoon, didn't I? The last stop of our Essential 8 is Marineland. It began as Marine Studios in 1938 along the lightly populated coast south of St. Augustine. The idea was to supply Hollywood with underwater footage of marine life. Revenge of the Creature in 1955, as well as parts of Tarzan movies, were filmed there. It has had 3 major transitions. At first, visitors loved viewing the diversity of marine life. Bottlenose dolphin feedings evolved into pioneering of trained dolphin shows. Marineland transitioned to become the undisputed major attraction in the 50s and 60s in the state of Florida, with 500,000 guests per year. As the Orlando theme parks grew in the 70s and 80s, tourist traffic dwindled. Stepping to the present, it is now known as the Marine Dolphin Conservation Center, founded to foster the preservation and protection of marine life. Today it offers much more intimate and personal experience. The experience ranges from viewing dolphins in a state-of-the-art 1.3 million gallon habitat to swimming with dolphins, not unlike the environmental changes marine mammals have had to cope with. Marine land too has had to find ways to evolve. That's the 10,000-foot view of the Essential 8, places to experience along the central Atlantic coast. These sound bites serve merely as a turnstile to the hours of adventure for your group or family. Check my availability on the left of this page, and let's experience this firsthand. The diverse beauty awaits. Pictures may fade, but your memory won't. Let's get exploring.